awkward pause. We're live.
Hello everyone, we are live for BritWres Chat episode 62. I'm Paul. Dom's having some technical issues, so he's not been able to get on the call just yet, but I'm joined by Chris Brooks and Tyler Bate. Thanks for joining me, guys.
Hello. Hi.
So, before we go through the results and everything from last weekend, what have you guys been up to lately? Any interesting matches?
I'm going to watch Example. Well, last weekend I did some wrestling. I wrestled for Southside in Nottingham.
Why are you talking like a 5-year-old? Do you care to elaborate on that at all?
No.
No. So Tyler wrestled for Southside and doesn't want to talk anymore about it.
There was Speed King was the evening show. Then was
Risky Business in the afternoon, wasn't it?
Risky Biscuit was Risky Business was the afternoon show. That was
Southside Wrestling Entertainment presents
Risky Biscuit. Yeah, I was on Risky Biscuit for the afternoon show. It was me and
the opening match against Gnome.
Yeah.
How did you find the match with Gnome?
It was great. I really liked it. I'd love to wrestle Noam Dar again, anytime. I loved it.
Because obviously, you guys had the unenviable task of trying to set the tone for the entire day across both shows, didn't you? So
yeah,
I enjoyed it. I thought it was a very good opener for the Saturday's festivities.
Yeah. I haven't seen it.
Yeah.
And then recently for Triple X, you got to work Doug Williams as well. I know you were excitedly going into it. Did the match live up to your expectations, or?
Yeah, I really liked it. Doug's a great guy. He's got tons of experience. I learnt loads wrestling with him, and I'd do it again any day.
And sorry, still got a bit of a bloody cough.
Don't you worry.
Chris, what have you been up to lately? Any interesting matches or shows that you took part in?
I went to Germany the other week when he wrestled Doug Williams, but no one cares. I wrestled Big Van Walter this weekend. I tagged with Mark Andrews and Pete Dunne against Big Van Walter and Hot and Spicy, and we lost. Would you believe it? And then last weekend, I was in Exmouth for Pro Wrestling Pride. I tagged with Callum Kane against Rob Britannia and Josh Knott. And Kamikaze Pro Sunday.
The Pride show went all in all, because obviously they're quite. They're relative.
I don't know where to look at for. Pride? I don't know.
At the camera, or it takes some getting used to. Like I'm looking at it, it looks like I'm not even looking off differently.
That's a bit of delay if that only just went through to 4. Yes, very enjoyable weekends.
Yeah, I think there's a little bit of a lag. But I think we'll dig deeper into Southside in a minute, but we'll I'll just run through quickly some results from some of the other shows which happened last weekend.
An answer in advance.
Hang on, what did you just say? Sorry, Chris was talking.
I'll run through the results from last weekend's shows that we weren't at, and then we'll go into a bit more detail on the review side in a minute. So first off, we had Preston City Wrestling with Spring Slam. Before we go into that, actually though, Chris, you were in the Preston City Rumble a couple of weeks ago. How did that go for you?
I came in and I kicked Cyanide, and then he beat the shit out of me. And not well. I saw up Keith Myatt's skirt. That was pretty gross. And then T-Bone flung me really far out the ring. So all in all, it wasn't the most successful of evenings. Didn't quite go the way I wanted it to.
Any idea on if you're going to be able to get to go back to Preston, or if there's anything been said to you, or anything like
No.
that?
What?
He said, any idea if you're going back to Preston? Anything been said to you? I just went, no. Who knows? I'm waiting for that call.
From Vince.
Yeah,
Vinnie Mac.
Vince Fludder.
Well, fingers crossed anyway. But the show last week, it was Spring Slam on the 25th of April from the Evoke venue in Preston. Martin Kirby defeated Dale Fox in the opener. Steve Carino defeated Norm Dar. Dave Mastiff defeated Charlie Garrett. Chris Masters and Dave Rain, along with Dean Allmark, defeated Team Single, Rampage Brown, T-Bone and Bubblegum. Peter Williams defeated El Ligero. Chris Travis defeated Chris Devitt defeated Chris Travis, I should say. And then they had the Lumberjack match with Joey Hayes taking on Danny Hope, and the Lumberjacks were Rampage Brown, T-Bone, Bubblegum, Dave Rain, Chris Masters, Vader, Rikishi, and Terry Funk. Obviously, Joey Hayes retained the title, but it got a stink face and a Vader bomb at the end to send the fans home happy. So,
who got a Vader bomb?
Joey Hayes.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I like Joey Hayes.
And he had he got the stink face before the Vader bomb, which is even more unfortunate. But
Joey Hayes.
I've heard good things from people who I know were at Preston last week, and so I know they've got a big Super Show weekend coming up. So hopefully they'll ride that momentum and keep going into that big weekend, which has got the likes of MVP, Uha Nation, Al Snow, quite a few, Low Key, Red Dragon, and Hurricane Helms, I think,
Red
is
Dragon?
the other big one. Yeah, Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish. Of Ring of Honor World Tag Team Champions fame, yes.
Red Dragon from Shropshire Wrestling Alliance.
Not quite, no. Kyle O'Reilly and Bobby Fish.
Already gone.
So, I said on the Saturday, it was Southside with Risky Business 3 and Speaking 2014. We've already mentioned... Risky Biscuits, indeed. We've already mentioned Tyler... unfortunately lost the opening match on Risky Business to Noam Dar by the knee bar. Thoroughly enjoyed this match. The typical Noam Dar match, and that there was comedy and built up to the big finish. Kaylee Ray and El Ligero defeating Lana Austin and Joseph Connors, which again I really enjoyed. I've seen a couple of mixed tag matches lately, and this was one of the better ones that I've seen. Some really good, nice double team work from everyone.
Name
Especially
the
Ligero
that you saw as well.
I'll be honest, I didn't really enjoy the one at Future Shock Underground very much at all.
Wow, well, I was actually looking for him to shoot like that, but there you go.
It just didn't work for me on night. But it's a shame because I liked all the 4 people involved. It just didn't quite work. But we then had the wildcard 4-way match with Devitt going over T-Bone, Will Ospreay, and Robbie X. This was really good, as you'd expect. It was short. It was fast paced, but Devitt hit the Bloody Sunday on T-Bone for the win after T-Bone took out Ospreay, and Devitt had already taken out Robbie X. And then we had match of the afternoon show for me was Mark Andrews taking on AR Fox.
Fuck you to you, Tyler. Eh?
What?
Match of the afternoon show for me wasn't you, Tyler. It was
Fine.
You can't really go wrong with those guys, though. Let's face it. Someone's phone going.
Please put your laptop in its going.
Fine.
Please stop the song. Pause it in the middle.
There we go. So, Mark Andrews defeated Air Fox, which was a bit of a surprise. I genuinely did expect Air Fox to win this and go to Speed King strong, but Mark Andrews got the win with the shooting star press. But if you had to pick a star of the day, AR Fox would have to be a contender between this match and then the two he had later on in the day. Zach Northern defeated Styx by DQ after Styx hitting with the chain. This led to the match being restarted after after Zach demanded it in no DQ, but Kaylee Ray, Pete Dunne, and I can't remember the third person, but 3 other Speed King wrestlers attacked Styx, letting Zach Northern pick up the pinfall victory over Styx. It's a good angle. Styx absolutely battered Zach Northern, hit multiple black hole slams, and
Sticks and
it
stones
basically
may break Zach Northern's bones, but black hole slams will never hurt him.
I think even after 5 or 6, it's going to start actually hurting a little.
Nah.
He's invincible to him.
And then we had main event. Project Ego defeated Mark Haskins and Petey Williams after they pinned Petey. Good main event. Fans still went home happy after Petey Williams hit the Canadian Destroyer on Chris Travis after the match. So anytime anyone sees Travis getting beaten up, seems to get a thumbs up, especially from the South side crowd. But I do prefer heel Travis over all of them, the different incarnations you get of him. And
the heel.
Yeah. But yeah, that was the afternoon show. After your match, do you have a chance to watch much of the afternoon show yourself, Tyler? I noticed you're watching a fair bit of the actual Speed King tour. Did you see much of Risky Business?
Yeah, I watched pretty much the whole thing after my match.
And your impressions of the afternoon show?
What were the matches again?
He was just talking about them. You'd have known if you weren't playing Marvin Gaye.
Oh no, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I'll remember. Hang on.
Yeah, the mixed tag of Kaylee Liggs, Lana, and Joe Connors.
I actually missed that one, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, because I was getting changed, but yeah, all the rest I saw.
So the 4-way with Devitt, Bo,
that was
Osprey, and Robbie X.
Yeah, that was really good. That was the first time I ever got to watch Will Ospreay, and I thought it was awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, same for me, to be honest. I know Sharman obviously sees the Swords of Essex down her way quite a lot, and I've always talked about how good they are, but I'd never seen Will until Saturday, and he really impressed me in all his matches.
Yeah, me too.
Then I had obviously Mark Andrews and AR Fox, Zach Northern and Styx, and Ego versus Haskins and Petey Williams was the rest of the card.
Yeah. Was that they got the crowd involved at the start of that match, didn't they?
Yeah, that dragged on a little bit long for me, if I'm 100% honest. Especially,
I loved it. I thought it was really good.
Especially, I think more from where I was sat, because I was sat right in front of the merch table. Once Jack Haskins got put in the ring, got woken up, and understandably got quite cranky. For the rest of that match, I've just heard a baby crying behind me, which can kind of ruin the atmosphere a little. But it was funny to start the match. The guy that got in the ring, one of them that got in the ring on the side of Haskins and Petey Williams, the drunk Scottish guy.
Oh yeah, the drunk Scottish guy. He kept talking to me, and I really didn't want to be rude and shove him away. But yeah, I was trying to be nice and be like, yeah, thank you, and just try and finish the conversation. But yeah.
Are you hating on fans?
I hope he doesn't watch this. If you do, I take back everything I just said. I'm sorry.
I'll be honest, he was starting to really get on my nerves and ruin my enjoyment of speaking a little bit at the start of the show. He disappeared by the time the final couple of matches started.
Did he get kicked out or something?
I don't know if he got kicked out. I know he walked off before. It was just that he sat down after the intermission and then walked off before the first match after intermission started. Yeah. And I didn't see him after that. But for the entire first half of the show, if you think Scottish stereotype, you think this guy. Homophobic, xenophobic, chanting and shouting.
You're on Scottish people now, Paul.
I'm part Scottish. I like Scottish people. This guy definitely didn't do the stereotype any favours, though.
Sorry about this. I'm just turning the light on. The light don't work. Damn. Give me a sec. There's a lamp over here.
But yeah, so yeah, I was under orders by Paul Obaz to mention this guy because for the first half of the show, what was actually happening in the ring was secondary to this guy. He'd bring 2 or 3 pints back from the bar every time and then not just knock them over. Yeah. And ended up drinking one of them. So there was a steady pool of cider down by his feet the entire show. It was just typical luck, but I was sat there for the most of the first half just thinking, will you just move or stop drinking or something?
Yeah, that's the point. I just wanted him to leave.
Well, he didn't enjoy it. He didn't ruin the show for me. A really good time with the actual main Speaking show, but it was you could see it was one of those people that just like get roach on because no one wants to be near him. That says a lot. Yeah. But main Speaking show, we had Pete Dunne defeating Noam Dar to advance into the elimination match. Again, I enjoyed this match. I think Pete's brilliant. Noam was a little bit too similar to the match he had with you. I thought he did pull a lot of the same spots, a lot of the same stuff in. Yeah. But didn't really enjoy him to the match. I still enjoyed it, but it wasn't anything new or exciting, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Kaylee Ray defeated El Ligero in a really good match. Very little way of bumps, all technical, but it was really well told. And Robbie X defeated P.T. Williams in a really good match. This is where the show really starts to pick up some steam.
Yeah.
And this is the first time Robbie had advanced into the final of Speaking, because the first year he was on his losing streak still. The second year he obviously lost in the first round when he was champ, so they guaranteed a new champion at the end. So that was weird. That was well played. Martin Kirby and Dean Allmark was a good match as well. Dean Allmark is the man who beat Robbie X last year to advance into the final, and Kirby's obviously the current Speaking champion.
Yeah.
So there was always that chance that Allmark was going to make it 2 for 2 and beat the champion in the first round. Didn't happen. He hit the Dragon's tail kick after a low blow for Kirby to advance. Business really starts to pick up when you got AR Fox taking on Chris Travis and defeating Travis. This match was great. The amount of crazy stuff Fox did across all 3 matches was great. But the fact that I don't know, obviously, because I don't know if you feel the same way, but I really like the fact that he didn't try and cram everything into one match like he did is imploding 450 to the outside in the afternoon show, and then against Travis he did his moonsault, and he did a couple of other dives, and he hit the low main pain, and he showed off a bit more of his stuff, and then he did like the over the corner dive like that in the. He basically spread out all his big spots across all the matches, which I thought was very clever. That's the other thing I will say as well. The first 3 matches of this show, it's almost as if no one was really talking to each other about what they were planning, because there was a lot of repeated spots. Like Ligero and Kaylee Ray did the whole catching each other's feet and then slowly putting it on the floor, and then Robbie X and Pete Williams did the exact same spot in the next match. It was a bit weird in that respect, but again, that's just me being nitpicky. If anything, Will Ospreay and Mark Andrews was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah, it was.
Can't say a bad thing about that match. Possibly the best reverse Rana spot I've ever seen.
Yeah, I love that spot. It was so good.
And again, as we were saying before, I've never seen Will before, but he really impressed me. He hit a imploding 450 off the top for the win. In a match that was very, very even. It could have gone either way, and I think if Mark Andrews had gone to the final instead, no one would have complained. We then had the intermission, and then following intermission, we Harvey Dale was supposed to join the Dale Mills Kiss My Ass Club, and he wasn't there, so Harvey Dale is now done with Southside. He's not going to get any more chances to get back in. And we then went straight into the title match, which was Mark Haskins taking on Prince Devitt. Devitt came out painted up like Anti-Venom, looked absolutely amazing, as all his recent paint jobs have looked. And Haskins did eventually pick up the win with a modified version of his Big in Japan finisher, and mutual respect from the guys from both men afterwards as Devitt was leaving. And you knew the match was going to be good because the people involved, and Devitt's been on fire lately, and even more so than normal. And I genuinely thought this was one of the best matches I've seen him have in his recent run. And Haskins is no slouch either. Then we had the Speed King 6-way elimination final, which was Martin Kirby actually coming out the victor and retaining his championship. First of all, Robbie eliminated Pete Dunne, and then Martin Kirby eliminated Robbie X. Al Fox pinned Will Ospreay off a 450 splash. Martin Kirby then eliminated AR Fox after Kaylee Ray had hit him with her finisher. The name of it escapes me, but it's the Guerrero special bomb.
Oh, the Gory bomb.
Yeah, that's it, Gory bomb. She hit that on Kirby. Kirby threw her out the ring and then pinned Fox. And then Kaylee Ray basically got everything thrown at her. She kicked out on multiple finishes. There was ref bumps. There was lots of drama going into this, but eventually Martin Kirby hit Kaylee with the belt and retained. But the crowd, from the whole Risky Business show, they were a bit quiet, but the whole Speed King show, the crowd were red hot, and it's the best crowd I've seen in Nottingham for Southside. And I've only missed a couple of their Nottingham shows so far. And I thoroughly recommend the DVD when it comes out. There's the DVD's worth it just for Ospreay and Andrews, Fox and Travis, and Haskins and Devitt, and the Speed King final alone. But so what, have you got anything else you want to add, or any additional thoughts about the Speed King show?
Oh, I love the Speed King final with especially the end with Martin Kirby and Kaylee Ray. It was like a WrestleMania main event. Honestly, there was me, Mark Andrews, Noam Dar, and El Ligero all stood in like behind the curtain, and we're all just popping. It was so cool. I loved it. Honestly, it was one of the best matches on the British scene I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think that's always a good sign when you're watching a match and you can see the other wrestlers off the card getting just as invested in it.
Yeah.
It's always a big sign, because I'll admit it, most wrestlers I've met can be very jaded and very. It's a generalization, shall we say? But when you see people popping for things, it's always a really good sign. But then the next day was Kamikaze. I wasn't at that. Dom was, but unfortunately we can't. Dom's turning up and able to connect into the chat. But you were there, Chris. So do you know the results of all the matches, or did you see any of the show outside of your match?
The Hunter Brothers beat the Bangor Knights. Dan Maloney was eliminated first in the 4-way by a low blow. I was eliminated by disqualification, and then El Ligero beat Marshall X to become #1 contender for the run on this title. Damien Dunn lost to P.T. Williams. After the interval, Ryan Smile, AR Fox, was beaten by Robbie X to defend the Relentless title. Then Ryan Smile defended the Kamikaze Pro title against Eddie Dennis, and finally Pete Dunne beat Steve Corino, I think.
Well, I have me here. Sounds like a really good show, and I've not heard a bad thing about any Kamikaze show as yet, to be honest.
It was very good. Are you trying desperately to invite Dom again quickly?
I am, yes. See if we can try and get Dom on. But it's not looking good, if I'm 100% honest. We may have to go back to that. But on the Sunday, up in Scotland, at the garage in Glasgow, we had ICW as well. The tag team championships are defended as the Sumerian Death Squad defeated Kenny Williams and Dio Hendry to retain. 20-minute time limit expired for James Scott versus Joe Coffey. Joe Coffey challenged James Scott to a 60-minute Iron Man match, but James Scott refused and said he was retiring. New Age Clique defeated Wolfgang, Jimmy Havoc, and the Bucky Boys in a 4-on-3 match. During the match, James Scott came to the assistance of the New Age Clique, and it was announced that James Scott was gone and Darkseid had returned. Prior to Mark Coffey versus Noam Dar, Devitt came out dressed and painted up like Darth Maul to make it a 3-way for the Zero G Championship, which Mark Coffey then won. Jackie Polo defeated Solar, and a heavyweight championship match, Jack Jester defeated Red Lightning to retain, and it was announced that at a show in London this weekend, it's going to be Jimmy Havoc taking on Jack Jester. Should be a very good match. It's not looking good for Dom being able to get on, but so we'll just touch back on Kamikaze quick. What were your impressions of the show overall, Chris? Did you have a chance to watch much of it, or just
I
see
watched quite a good portion of it. It definitely seemed to have a very big show feel about it. There was a big crowd there, which was nice to see, and they were very loud throughout. It's nice to see Kamikaze do something on such a big scale, not to say their other shows aren't. As every show they've been filling out, whichever venue it is they run quite a few. I think it was like 3 or 4 venues they're constantly running. But it's good to see them do sort of like a big show. There wasn't many sort of angles or promos or anything in between things. It very much felt like it was their big climax to a lot of things they've had building. And it was cool to see because, like, I've been on pretty much every Kamikaze show, bar 1 or 2, I think, from the very beginning. So it's nice to see him move from starting out in little social clubs and little halls and moving on to a big, nice sports hall and filling it out. So it's looking good for them. I think they're only going to keep getting better. And next show, I think, has got Ryan Small defending the belt against Juventud Guerrero, which should be pretty cool.
Yeah, it's going to be cool to get Hoovy in the country. And obviously, I don't know what shape he's in now. I've not seen him wrestle for a number of years, but it's going to be interesting to see.
One thing by mistake because I mixed up Juventud Guerrero with Psychosis, and then realised it wasn't Psychosis. Not that I don't love the Hoovy juice, but I've been watching a lot of Psychosis from Mexico back in the day recently. Sure. I'm like, wow, Psychosis, but then I realised I was mixing it up with someone else.
But one thing I will say, I was slightly concerned when Kamikaze came on the scene, not because of their product in particular, but the fact that there's quite a lot of promotions around the Midlands now.
Not really so much anymore, though. I think when they did come around, there was quite a lot, but there's considerably less now. They've outlasted quite a few. West of Midlands has come and gone and come
back and then gone again.
In the time. Iron Fist is running less shows than I think there were. There's no NSW, NLWs anymore. What else? AWW are running less, I think. They're not running the Civic anymore and stuff. I don't know. So I think when they came around, people were dubious, as I was, because there was already quite a lot of promotions. in the Midlands, but they've outlasted and stayed strong throughout, which is cool. And now, in my opinion, they're probably the strongest in this area that's running that regular and for that crowd. So.
Yeah, because you've also got the likes of Triple X, which is obviously a bit further south, but I class it as still as kind of part of the scene, and they're doing really well at the moment, which is great to see.
Yeah, Triple X is
You
pretty
both
cool
you
as
guys
well.
weren't there
They're in the same area, but I think two different audiences for Triple X and Kamikaze. Triple X is obviously aimed at the smarter, more adult crowds in the nightclubs and stuff, whereas Kamikaze is very much, as good as wrestling is there, it's a very much family-friendly wrestling show. You have a lot of families in the audience.
It's good to have that variety because Triple X there's not really many promotions like that. And obviously, up in the way you've got like HXC, which try and goes for the over 18. You've got Fight Club and obviously what we're going to shortly. But there's not that many like over 18 only promotions.
Yeah, and I think Triple X is a lot more tongue-in-cheek than places like Fight Club Pro and HXC as well. Like, although it is aimed at the over 18, it's sort of in another angle. There's a lot of humor on their shows. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Triple X has a lot more comedy, more of a big variety act than just this is over 18s wrestling. It's going to be violent. There's like, you got the henchman, fucking sleazy bastard. In between gimmicks, Terry Seddon, the local jobbers, all those characters. And then obviously you got really good wrestlers as well. You got like the Duns, Joe Coffey, this guy, Mark Andrews, Flash Morgan Webster, etc., etc. But there's definitely more humor, I think, in Triple X and the stuff they do. So they're sort of one market, and then I think I put Fight Club Pro in a different one. Whereas, I mean, although the shows are like a laugh and stuff, it's a lot more serious, I guess, than Triple X.
Well, they coined the term British Strong Style, didn't they, within Fight Club, and that's a very appropriate way to describe the style. It's very hard hitting with the high flying, and now it's really starting to come into its own when it comes to the long term storylines and trying to keep people invested. Where it used to just be like big supercards, but now there seems to be a lot more going on to bring things together, which is all, as someone who goes down, and I've only missed a couple in the last year and a half, it's good to see that there's that forward thinking, and now like obviously we'll go into it properly in a bit when we talk about the show that's coming up on Friday, but now the attack guys, or what you'd class as the attack guys, now passed as part of the regular roster.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems they're building a really, really strong product there. Because obviously that's where both you guys started to get your big breaks. Obviously, Tally, you wrestled for Great Bear before you actually debuted at Fight Club.
Yeah.
But now you and Dan are a mainstay within Fight Club, and it's not within a couple of months of getting those dojo matches.
Yeah.
Is that because? Correct me if I'm wrong. Is Fight Club where you actually started training when you wanted to actually get into becoming a wrestler?
No, I actually started training at AWW at their place in Dudley. I trained with those guys for around
A year or so?
like a year, maybe a bit over a year, and then I just kind of moved really to Fight Club Pro training. Just like completely jumped from AWW to Fight Club Pro.
Well, that seems to be paying dividends for you because of the.
Oh yeah, definitely. It was good as well because Fight Club Pro for a really long period of time they had like a really small roster, so it was like the same guys just all in one group, just wrestling each other over and over and over again. Whereas now, because it was me and Dan, like they introduced us to, and now they're introducing like the attack guys and so on and so forth.
Yeah, because obviously for this Friday coming up, we've got another Fight Club Pro show coming up, which is Fight Club Pro Rise Against the End of Dave ?
Yeah.
And I'm really looking forward to this show. There's not one match on the show which you can't count on being good, or at very least being interesting. Like main events, Tommy End taking on Dave Mastiff. Enough said, as far as I'm concerned on that one. Because I don't even class Tommy End as an import anymore, because he's over here that much.
He spends so much time over here, like, I wouldn't really class him as an import anymore. He's like more or less one of the British wrestling guys.
I'm genuinely really looking forward to this match. As Tommy versus Trent at the last show was fantastic. Genuinely one of the stiffest matches I've seen in a long time. And again, you can tell because the amount of other wrestlers that you can see peeking through the curtain or sat in the little bit where the camera is, trying to watch the match. But I can't actually make a prediction here on who I think is going to walk out with the belt, because you could feasibly see both guys. Dave Mastiff's an intimidating presence, but he's also quite sneaky and underhanded, especially when it comes to keeping hold of that belt. But then there's Tommy End, who knocked out Trent Seven at the last show.
Yeah.
The deck knocked his ass out, kizold.
We then have the tag team challenge match with flips and forearms of Pete Dunne and Mark Andrews taking on yourself, Tyler, and Dan Maloney.
Yep.
This was set up at the last show, which is again what I was talking about when it comes to forward thinking and trying to bring more things to get people more enticed. And can't wait for this one. I'll be 100% honest. I think you and Dan make a really good team, and so do Mark and Pete. And I'm looking forward to it, but I'm also kind of dreading the type of crazy crap you're going to do to each other.
Well, I've honestly got no idea what I'm planning on doing yet. But
way to sell the show to people. I have no idea what I'm going to do yet.
But I suppose you'll see some Germans, some lariats, some mustaches.
And we can use the non-PG version of the chant on Friday. I was quite proud when we started when we got a bit of a Tyler's mustache chant going at Southside.
Oh yeah.
On Saturday. We then have the four-way challenge with yourself, Chris, Damien Dunn, Wild Boar, and the debuting Robbie X. Should be very good. I think Robbie's going to go over really well in that environment. He's got the right style to fit in at Fight Club.
You turned into a bit of a robot there, Paul.
You glitched and went, environment.
Sorry.
That's okay.
But yeah, just saying, Robbie's got the right style to fit in at Fight Club, and Boar's been great since he's been there, and I've always rated Damien yourself highly, so that should be a really good four-way. It's just first pinfall on that one?
I think so. I think it's just one fall to a finish. Maybe. Don't quote me on it. It could not be. But I think it's one fall to a finish this time. Not to say that there's a next time, because that's what that sounded like then. This time, it's one fall to a finish. I was just thinking of other four-ways like the Infinity. They're usually elimination, but I think this is just one fall. Maybe.
And then we've got the interesting storyline implication match on the show. Even as much as the others are really interested for the future, you've got the Hunter brothers taking on Trent Seven and a mystery partner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Obviously, no hints or anything yet of who's going to actually be with Trent. Lots and lots of theories going around with people.
So I've not really. heard too many. So.
I've heard people mention like maybe Mark Haskins. I've heard people mention Dan Ryder trying to sneak in there and then mess with just Isabel and yourself and Gresham to become the first ever tag team champions at Fight Club Pro.
Who was that?
So it's going to be a very interesting match, this one, to say the least.
Yeah. I think it's going to be just someone.
So I don't know if
John Zandig, Nick Gage, DJ Hyde.
I think if Zandig or Gage showed up, a certain deathmatch fan we all know would lose his mind.
They want to let him out.
I hope it's the wife beater.
I think the Hunter Brothers versus Trent Seven and DJ Hyde is a headliner.
What about Freight Train?
Oh, Freight Train! Woo! I would pay a lot of money to see that.
I genuinely don't know who it's going to be, though.
No, neither of us have had any words about it.
Not for lack of trying. We've tried to find out. No one's telling us.
But it's going to be interesting because, obviously, the last time I could think of where Fight Club had a surprise appearance, it turned out to be Eddie Edwards. So you never know who it's going to be.
Oh, yeah.
You've set a precedence, precedence now of you never know who could show up through those doors.
Was it Eddie last time?
No.
I know that's one of the last big surprises I can remember was when Eddie showed up to take on Trent, wasn't it? And he ended up winning the title.
Dan Ryder was my mystery partner once. That was after Eddie Edwards.
Oh, say yeah, Dan Ryder. When he aligned himself with Spud.
Yeah.
But obviously, on keeping with Fight Club, obviously after the last show, they also had the super secret show, which you were both involved in.
Mm-hmm.
How did you find that experience when it comes to as far as working wrestling shows goes?
Well, I won, so I won the tournament. Yeah, but it was really unusual compared to your average Fight Club Pro hard-hitting, strong-style, swearing, violence.
It was
show.
strange for Fight Club Pro, but like in terms of just British wrestling in general, I've wrestled in weirder places. There'll probably be weirder places again. I mean, it was unique for Fight Club Pro to be in that sort of surrounding. But
I've got to say, from my point of view, it was very surreal being sat there eating curry and rice while you're getting ready to watch a Fight Club Pro show. That was strange, I have to admit.
Yeah, it was. Hang on.
I'm not sure if that'll be a permanent fixture. Maybe curry and rice at the Planet on Friday.
Can I just go urinate for a second?
No problem.
Could have said anything, but he just chose to throw it out there and say, "Can I go and urinate?" Will I have said justice?
Have you only got Fight Club on Friday? Are you booked anywhere else over the weekend, Chris?
Just Fight Club this weekend. Things get quite busy for the rest of May, like after the week after this. But just Fight Club Pro this weekend. I think Paul Tyler's gone as well, and then maybe on the 10th or the 11th he's got House of Pain. And then after that there's a ton of stuff with like Kingdom, Great Bear, Triple X, Kamikaze, Attack, etc., etc.
Yeah, I'm a bit gutted because my dates have all been messed up and I'm not going to be able to be at the next Great Bear show. I've already messaged the bear himself to let him know, but I've got a family thing on that day, and then this likewise in June for the double shows.
Technical advisor on hand usually when
technical advisor and go for this, go for that.
Go for it. Good. It's a good way to describe it. When the bear has forgotten to print DVDs the day of the show, send for portals.
I'm finished
Send for-
urinating.
I'm gonna do what you just did.
Okay, now you got me.
No problem. I was just saying to Chris. Then obviously, I've outside of Fight Club this weekend. Have you got anything else? Anything else on, or is it all like Chris? Is it like all like the rest of the May? Rest of the May is quite busy.
Nothing that I know of. I've got like a bunch of stuff noted in my calendar, but yeah. I guess I'll look in it. Hang on, just give me a second. Oh, I've got a bunch of stuff noted in my calendar. I'll try to be quick.
No problem. So just while we come back, while you're looking through your calendar, also coming up this weekend on Saturday, you've got Tidal, presenting Point Break 2014 from the Dolphin Centre in Darlington, and on that show you've got El Ligero taking on Liam Lazarus for the TCW Championship, Project Ego taking on The Proven, AJ Anderson taking on Matt Myers, Rampage Brown taking on Johnny Moss, Violet O'Hara taking on Shax. Violet O'Hara, obviously current Bellatrix British champion. Saw her wrestle in Warrington recently, really impressed, so that should be good. Dara Diablo taking on Perfect Purdy, and Jenny Centurion taking on Unbreakable Bobby Jackson. So if you're in Darlington area, Tidal have been putting on some really good shows lately, so you could do a lot worse than going to check those guys out.
And yeah, I haven't got anything else this weekend. It's just Fight Club Pro.
But then I'm assuming, like Chris, the rest of your May is quite busy with like some Attack and Great Bear and everything else.
Got loads in May. I'm gonna be.
I was just saying to Chris then I'm going to be missing my first Great Bear show since the very first one. Unfortunately, this week on the 17th, which I'm a little bit disappointed if I'm honest, because obviously I'm missing it for a good reason, but I'd still like missing shows, especially when I get to help out and feel like I'm such a part of it, like I do with Great Bear.
So have you been to every single Great Bear promotion show?
From the second one onwards.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
When there was 25 people, including myself, watching Jack Gallagher versus Chuck Taylor, to where it's grown to. So.
Oh yeah.
That's been really good.
Yeah. Watch him. Gained an extra person in the crowd.
And just before we move on to a couple of other things, and we just have a little bit more of a chat before we wrap things up. On Friday, also, if you're in Scotland, with Greenock Town Hall, you've got Breaking the Limit 9, presented by PBW. And on this show, you've got a PBW Championship ladder match with Liam Thompson defending at El Ligero. The tag team title match of Just Us defending against Project Ego. Rampage Brown taking on Norm Dar. The Vigilante Johnny Moss taking on Wolfgang. Unstoppable Andy Wild taking on Davey Blaze. And you got Team Grado, which is Grado, El Technico, Brendan Cooper, and Kenny Williams taking on Team Jester of Jack Jester, James Scott, TJ Rage, and Switch. Tickets will be available on the doors and are priced at £12.50 for adults and £11 for children for general admission. And if there's any front row left, they're priced at £20. But PBW have put on some really good stuff lately, so if you are in the Greenock area, go and check those guys out. And then outside of obviously like the long Fight Club running again, the other big show you've got this weekend is the sold out ICW show, which is a show in London. They are venturing down south of the border for the first time to London, and the card looks great, I'll be honest. Liam Thompson with Carmel taking on Kid Fight, the Coffee Brothers taking on the London Riots. I know Sharman in particular is very excited for that one. Carmel, Erin Angel, and Kaylee Ray in a 3-way. Grado taking on Shah Samuels. Sumerian Death Squad defending the championships against the New Age Clique. And Jack Jester defending his championship against Jimmy Havoc in a street fight. So that show is sold out. So if you haven't got tickets already, unfortunately you're not going to be able to get in. But if you have got tickets, I'm sure everyone who is going to have a brilliant time at that one. ICW always looks amazing from any of the footage that they've released. And that is it for the big shows coming up this weekend. So, is there anything else anyone would like to discuss while we're all on this call and we've got a bit of time, or you guys got things to be getting on with, or?
Well, not really, but yeah.
Tyler's probably just going to play more songs for you. By the looks of it. I think he's going to play music again.
Hang on a second.
Hang on.
This is where we're going to start getting warnings for copyrighted things.
Yep. Who cares?
Fight them. Fight them with your forearms.
Fight with your forearms. Hashtag Pete Dunne. Hashtag.
Three-quarter length tights.
Three-quarter tights. Hashtag. Yeah. I don't know.
So I think, but one question really then. Obviously, you guys have getting some good big profile matches already. We're getting to work a lot more places. Is there any typical promotions you'd love to work for that you haven't had a chance to work for yet? Any particular matches that you'd love to have? Any opponents?
Premier.
Start with you first, Tyler, on that one. Or?
Sorry, I just jumped you there.
What?
Who wants you to start?
I'd like to do something for ICW, I think, but then, like, so do most people. But, yeah, I just think it'd be really cool. That place, and, like Chris was saying, Premiere.
Down in Worthing.
Yeah. Seemed like a really cool place.
Still do the round system.
Yeah. Like, they're really old school, like, kind of, well, the sport, like, they use the rounds in matches and whatnot.
Cool. And yourself, Chris?
For me, it would be nice. No specific places really. Pretty like all the places I'd like to be. I am for the minute. So it's always nice to go more places. I'd like to get up north a bit more and further down south. But there's no specific promotions that Sledgehammer that I want to wrestle for. I'd like to wrestle Zack Sabre Jr., Ben O'Malley, Josh Woodham, Kenny Wills. Off the top of my head.
I think this was generated very quickly.
You could have a steam train if you just lay down your tracks. You could have an aeroplane flying and you bring your boots like that. All you do is for me. I'll be anything you need.
Maybe stop the song.
Very good for the people who haven't got video when they download this. But, I think one last question I think before we wrap up and call this a day for the show is, what's your particular favourite match you've had so far, or your favourite opponent, should I say?
Ever.
So go for you, Chris, first on that one.
Ever.
Yeah.
Still John Gresham probably to wrestle or team with but also people who I get to seemingly wrestle a lot that I like wrestling. Tyler Bate, Damien Dunn, Pete Dunn, Hot and Spicy over in Germany. Had a couple with them now, and they're really fun to wrestle. Axel Dieter Jr. is going to be over for Great Bear in their junior tournament in June, which people should look out for because he's really good technical wrestler. Eddie Dennis, I like wrestling a lot. Mark Andrews, Trent Seven, Dan Maloney, the Hunter Brothers are always easy and good fun. So a lot of the people I get to wrestle a lot anyway. I'm fortunate enough to be in an area where a lot of the people I wrestle are really good. So I get to have a lot of good matches. To me, quite often.
Yeah, I really
So
like
you got the
wrestling.
exact same between
Hmm?
Say to interrupt, over to you, Tyler.
Oh, hang on. What was I gonna say? Oh yeah, I really liked wrestling Jonathan Gresham. He's probably like my favorite person to wrestle, aside from Christopher. Just purely because both of our styles and the way we move blended really well. Like, I couldn't pick a more suitable person for me to wrestle. But someone I would actually really like to wrestle. I've never wrestled Pete Dunne in a singles, but I'd like to. That's something I want to happen. Yeah.
Because obviously, like speaking of like of Pete Dunne and all that, obviously there's a lot of anticipation at the moment for a Press Start 2, Know Your Role, as it's being called. I'm assuming both of you guys are going to be involved with that show.
Yep. Neither of us are on the first though, so should be fun.
Yeah, the first one, obviously, I've seen it on DVD, and it's genuinely the most interesting wrestling shows I've ever seen. Laughed my arse off for the entire show, and they just seem to be, those guys just seem to be topping themselves, been getting better and better and better when it comes to the theme shows. And anyone who can get a ticket, I fully recommend it, just because you never know what's going to happen on the day, especially on Attack.
Yeah, I'd get a ticket soon as well because the venue really isn't huge.
It's not a huge venue, and it usually always sells out. So if you do want to go, you should probably buy a ticket in advance. Because turning up on the door won't cut the mustard. You'll get told to piss off
the hay
and go do something else in Cardiff for 3 hours instead.
And I think that's about it, really. Obviously, you mentioned like the likes of Great Bear with the Juniors tournament coming up. When do you know when the DVD's going to be available for Great Bear with the Zack Sabre Jr. versus CJ Banks match? I know that one was getting filmed outside of Great Bear. That was a different crew, wasn't they, filming that one?
Yeah, maybe never. I keep speaking to the bear and asking when he's gonna have it, and your guess is as good as mine, really. Don't know. Hopefully soon. I hear it was I didn't get a chance to watch it live, but I hear it was very good. I'd like to see back quite a bit from that show, like your match with Ryan Hendricks.
I
Your
never saw
match with Damon.
Match with Damon Lee. I enjoyed that. I'd like to see that back. And John and Josh Bowden. So hopefully soon. It was quite a big show, so the longer it takes, unfortunately, is, I feel, detrimental to it, because it was a really strong card, and I think people would be very interested in purchasing it. So hopefully soon.
Yeah, that's my cheap plug for the day as well. As soon as that DVD is available, people should rush out and get it. It's a very, very good show. And speaking of cheap plugs, have you guys got anything you'd like to plug, or anything else, anything you'd like to mention before we wrap this up?
Make sure you get down to Fight Club Pro on Friday. Make
Damn sure, if for nothing else, just to buy my new T-shirt.
Or to buy my DVDs. Best of Tyler Bate so far.
I have a new shirt that will be available on Friday.
Pretty snazzy, if I say so myself. I'll definitely be getting one.
Ooh. Woo. Look at that.
Nice that. I like that design.
You say
Better
nice?
than the last one.
Huh?
better than the last design.
Fuck you.
It's a bit tentacle porty.
I can plug
The
everything
last
while I'm here. Look at this. What's that?
That's me and Chris versus Deadly Damon Lee and CJ Banks.
That's Triple X.
That'll be a very good match. It's great.
Oh, was that one gonna work? Lou versus.
Yeah, it got announced.
Oh,
Has that been announced?
I didn't want
I also have a trading card. They'll be available.
Yeah, you've made it when you get your own trading card.
Exactly. So, yeah. Buy my new shirts. Tyler has some DVDs.
I do have DVDs. I also have pictures of myself.
And wristbands as well, haven't you?
And
So,
my wristbands. Bands. So
So,
you should probably buy them.
buy his stuff. He's too stupid and lazy to set up a website, though, so you can only get it at shows.
And I'm homeless right now, so I'm struggling for money to do things and make myself happy. But, so the more people that buy my things,
Just
the
while Paul
happier I'll be.
Kissick is shitting on my t-shirt, this guy thought they were cool enough to wear one, so bollocks of pressing them.
it's just not for me. I do. I've seen quite a few of them in the wild. You've sold quite a few of them.
You see who that is, Paul?
Designs off of me. All I can see is a white flash.
How about now?
Ah, Mr. Hero.
So you can suck a dick.
On that note, I think this chaotic edition of BritWres Chat should come to a close before my voice completely gives out on me.
On the note of me telling Paul to suck a dick.
Any final thoughts outside of obscene things towards me before we go?
I'm going to see Example tomorrow.
You said that at the beginning and no one cared.
I know.
No one cares now either.
Nah, it's going to be sick.
No, it isn't.
It is all like Example.
I don't.
I do.
If you're in the Birmingham area tomorrow and happen to be going to see Example...
No. You can only get in if you win competition.
If you happen to have won a competition and be in the Birmingham area and for some reason are listening to BritWres Chat and would like to meet Tyler Bate, if you tick all of those very specific requirements, you'll be there tomorrow.
Yep.
Say hello.
Not that that's a big deal or anything.
He'll be the ridiculously muscular child with a mustache. You can't miss him.
But other than that, I shall see you guys on Friday. Thank you very much for coming on and talking bollocks with me for the last hour. And best of luck for best of luck for Friday for those tweets before your match. And
Bye, Paul.
Farewell.
thanks, I've been Paul, and we'll see you next week.